What is this
Yeah.
transformation you want for them? This great love. I mean, I think teaching is a spiritual act.
Yeah.
It's a very loving, generous act.
Yeah.
And so when we structure this course so carefully, and one of the things that my clients come to me with almost exclusively is, I really want to connect with people in this class at the same level, as close as I can get to the same level that we experience one-on-one.
Yeah.
I want them to feel loved. I want
Yeah.
them to feel seen and heard. And so when we build a course like that, people are moved.
Yeah.
People are, I mean, there's nothing in the world like being seen and feeling seen and
Yeah.
heard,
Yeah.
you know?
And I think what you're talking about here is this soulful approach to helping people build their courses. It's so often when you think about adult learning principles, it's very linear, right? Hello, my extraordinary women friends. Today, I am thrilled to introduce you to one of my extraordinary clients, Kathleen June. And if you are planning on creating a new course in 2024 or updating an older course like I'm going to be doing, you're going to want to tune into Kathleen's wisdom as an instructional course designer. Her passion for adult learning began with an embarrassing failure as she transitioned from a school teacher to workshop trainer. But the resulting aha sparked her 32-year career designing courses based on proven adult learning practices and training others to create their own. She's helped me in some of my own courses in my business, and she's helped many of my clients. Kathleen agrees with Joseph Campbell that if we really want to change the world, we must teach people to live in it. She ignites a passion for teaching and learning in coaches and thought leaders as she guides them to build their own soulful and structured courses for adult learners. Kathleen invites coaches and thought leaders to bring their soulful life experiences into the structure of their coach's course. Their innate wisdom and their aspirations for their clients are woven in to enrich every aspect of their course design. The results are students who wield real life skills and are primed to come back for more. You're going to love Miss Kathleen. Let's meet Kathleen June. Well, welcome to Extraordinary Women Radio. Kathleen, I am so excited to have you join me today.
Thank you. I'm so glad to be here. This has been
This
a long
interview's
time
been,
coming, I think.
I was just going to say the exact same thing. I've been wanting to get you on the show because I think what you do is so important. And I think that in the world of so many people making courses online, that your work is really, really important. And I know you have so much to share and so much wisdom to gift. I have really been looking forward to this interview.
Thank you.
Yeah. So I know that there was this moment where you left behind being a teacher to moving into really becoming a workshop trainer, and it didn't go so well for you.
Yeah, it was one of those hideously embarrassing moments that's humorous now, but not so much at the time. I was teaching junior high school, art and English, and I was also involved in this grassroots community organizing group, which is how I got into this course for course development, instructional design. And it was a big honor in my little circle to be included in this course. But oh my gosh, I was so arrogant. I'll just say I was young. I don't know. But I just had myself up on this little self-made pedestal that I really didn't need this course. And, it'd be nice to be with all these other nice people. And, I just knew all this stuff. And because my junior high school students liked me, and I felt like I was creative and resourceful with them. So we had a little homework assignment the first night, which was to develop a 2-minute training teaching the group a how-to. So, how to sew on a button had to be non-work related, how to give a cat a pill, that kind of thing. So I did something about volunteering. I can't even remember what it was. But I talked and talked and talked, and I went over the 2 minutes, and I never got to the little skill, the little how-to. And when she stopped me, called time very, very nicely, kindly, I just wanted to crawl under the table. And here I was in front of my peers, my friends, which was worse than being in front of strangers, I think.
Totally.
And she was very, very kind. And she, you know, built me up about being articulate and being witty and having a wonderful, wonderful topic and how knowledgeable I was. And that this course is all about, narrowing your focus and bringing some really wonderful models to bear and learning how to build a course for adults. So the rest of the course was just unbelievably fantastic. And it was one of those huge, life-changing watershed moments where I realized I love teaching junior high school, and that's not where I belonged. I belonged here in front of a group of adults.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And what is different between the teaching junior high children or kids, probably is a better word to say, junior high kids, and adult learning? What's the difference between the two?
Well, teaching by definition is really more about information, imparting information. And we use the word teaching. I use it, bandy it about, because it's the easy, common word to use for what I do too.
Right.
But really, in the adult training world, adults you and I bring our entire life experience to the classroom. It's not like we imagine kids to be, which isn't really true, but, unzipping their heads and pouring information in and zipping it shut and, they're good to go.
Yeah.
With adults, we bring our life experience. And so we learn to be learning facilitators or learning stewards, which is guiding people to have wonderful Socratic discussions and make their own meaning and bring their own relevance to what they're learning.
Yeah.
And the capper is learning a skill, learning a how to.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, I love that. And it's when you think about there's so many teachers out there that just talk at you. And so, what happens when somebody's just being talked at?
It's only part of the story. Information is important, but
Yeah.
I teach people about a lecturette instead of a
Yeah.
lecture.
Ah.
It's really narrowing your focus.
Uh-huh.
What do people have to know and think about in order to start practicing this skill? So it's much, much shorter.
Yeah, I
And
love
it's
that.
not
Yeah,
pontificating as we.
cool. That's good. I like it. And you talk about this learning steward and being learner centered. Just kind of expand upon those two
Okay.
pieces a little bit
Well,
more.
learner centered means that instead of me back on my pedestal being the sole expert in front of the room and I'm just going to, impart all this wonderful knowledge to you, I step back and I could imagine me at the back of the classroom, for instance, and I put people in groups or I have them writing on worksheets or whatever, and they are helping each other learn from the structured activity that I've built for them.
Yeah.
So they're helping each other learn and they're drawing their own conclusions.
Yeah, I
And
love that. And I love that kind of learning myself. I mean, I definitely feel like that's the kind of learning that I take things away and I remember it and I embody it and it becomes part of me in the future.
mhm. Yeah, yeah, it's
Yeah.
really, integrating in a way that just talking doesn't give you.
Yeah. Yeah. I so love that.
And
So go ahead.
I was just going to say the opposite side of the coin is just listening doesn't create long lasting learning
Oh
either.
yeah, that's so true. Because I'm actually doing an inner MBA course right now, which is just amazing. It sounds true, and it's a 10-month long program, and so it's like I'm back in school and I'm learning. It's all about really doing business in a different way, which is so aligned to what I teach in my work. And I'm
Sure.
like, okay, what else can I bring into my world? And I can listen on a podcast, which I love podcasts. I am an avid podcast listener and I can take really good points away on a podcast. but I also don't learn as much than if I actually go and sit and have note and paper and note paper in hand and pen and really take out notes and then have conversations afterwards with others.
Mm-hmm.
So it's what we do in this program is like, we're weaving all these different ways of learning. I learn so much more when I can sit down and really be present in that moment and then have discussion on the backside of that.
Sure. Well, Socrates was onto something, you know.
What did Socrates say? Because I don't know.
Well, it's Socratic learning is asking penetrating questions, getting people talking, and continuing to ask questions to
Yeah.
help them figure out what they need to learn, you know.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And I like to think that I do that in my teachings because I think that, it's like, it's always been an intricate part of my work is getting people in conversation around questions. And I think that a large part of that goes back to my foundation in appreciative inquiry.
Yeah, I was just going to mention that. Yeah, it's
Yeah. And that's
open-ended questions.
Yeah. And so those open-ended questions create stories, which create learning, which create connection, which all of that flows together. So I
Now,
think it's powerful to be able to look at it through that lens.
the classic in adult learning is, you have the activities and what just happened? What did you notice?
Yeah.
What, what did she say? What did she do to make that happen? And then you come around to, so what do you make of that?
Yeah. And like you said, let
What do you
people
make?
make their own meaning from that, which is, it becomes much more entrenched and embodied with that.
Mhm.
So I've heard you say that the e-learning market is expected to boom $357 billion by 2026, which is like, that's crazy, right? I mean, that is quite a market, something that we all want to be able to tap into. And I also know that a lot of people in my space, as they're creating courses, with the end goal of creating dollars off the back end of it, which is, we're in business to make dollars. But I don't think that people are applying all of true adult learning principles into their courses that they're building. I think there's a lot of courses that are just being put together where you're just presenting, you're just not really fully, engaging people in this sort of way. What can we do as coaches, as business owners, as leaders that really creates useful, memorable learning experiences for our clients?
Well, I think the two really big things. And the first one is it's so tempting. We know so much. We're experts in our field and we have really significant experience to bring to bear. So it's so tempting. And this is probably the hardest part of course design.
I know where you're going because I do this one.
Everything that you know.
Exactly.
In 1 hour.
I'm guilty.
And that's certainly where I started. And so narrowing your topic, if you have 1 hour, what can you deliver that's meaningful, relevant, useful, and practical, a practical takeaway?
Yeah.
So if you have 10 minutes, if you have 20 minutes, that's why this course design, the way I teach it is infinitely scalable, infinitely scalable. You can actually take the same learning objectives or similar, you might have to break them down a little bit, but you can design a 2-minute post, live feed on your social media.
Yes.
You can design a day-long or half-day or an hour-long conference workshop.
Yeah.
So that's the biggest thing. And it's very hard. It's like, I think it was Hemingway is attributed with this comment, advice for writers, which is to kill your darlings, which is awful language, but you really have to say, I can't include that.
You can't include everything. And so this is the hard part. And it's funny because, and I know what I've noticed as my work evolves and I get new stuff and I'm really excited about the new stuff, but I don't want to let go of the old stuff. And so it's something that I catch myself with a lot. And I think that when we're, just give us a tip on that. It's like when we have too much in that teaching that we're bringing, What's a way that we condense that a little bit?
Well, really clear learning objectives, which is
Okay.
another piece of work. And
Yeah.
that is, what do they need to know to perform the skill successfully, to practice successfully? And
Mm-hmm.
what is that particular skill? So, for instance, if I was going to teach somebody about housework, wash dishes by hand,
Right.
okay, so what do you need to know? What are the facts, the data, the steps, the process, the supplies, that kind of thing?
Versus a big fire hose of
Yeah.
information where that they kind of go, oh gosh, where do I go with this?
And practice washing dishes. There might be a demonstration, observation, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
And then what attitude do you want them to leave with? What do you
Yeah.
want? How do you want them to feel as a result of practicing this skill successfully?
Yeah.
So usually it's more confident, more competent, more willing to try it again, that kind of thing, more willing to
So
share it with other
give us
people.
an example of a client that you worked with, because I know you worked with so many of my clients and helping them create courses and talks and that sort of thing. Can you pick out one example of where they had to really refine that?
Sure.
And you don't have to give a name. And you
Yeah,
could
that's
just,
fine.
yeah, yeah.
Let's see. Well, uh, one person teaches people all the steps they need to publish, get their book ready to publish, and to
Hmm.
market their book
Right,
themselves.
right,
And she had lots and lots and lots of materials. So we really had a lot of conversation about um, exactly who this course was focused on, your ideal client.
right.
Um, so, what type of author? Does it matter what type of book? Where are they in the process? Um, or do they want to self-publish? Is that for these people, or do they want to try for a standard publisher? And she had thought about that a whole lot, but talking about it in terms of this course was very helpful to her. And so, for instance, uh, she has a wonderful piece about. Oh, my mind's going to go blank here. About organizing yourself to even approach this process.
Right,
You know,
right,
what do you need in front of you? What do you need to have done before you start thinking about publishing?
right.
Um, and what criteria, if you're already looking at the type of publisher you want, what criteria are they asking you for?
Yeah,
So the skill there was for them to have a nice checklist to go through
right.
and
So
to
really put it
identify
into tangible
which, yeah,
something.
like out of those 12 things, which maybe 10 of those were most germane to them, and um, which was one thing they really needed help on.
Yeah, yeah. I
And
love
so
it.
that would take them to a part of it's a self-paced course. So that would take them to a particular module.
Excellent. Excellent. I love that. And it's what's there is a couple things is one, you're giving them a tool in the mix of this so that they're actually working with their content and they have this tool.
Mhm.
Um, um, talk a little bit about and I didn't write this down as something to talk about, but I've heard you talk about this from the perspective of the way we learn as adults. We all have different learning styles.
Mhm.
And so, what's important to just address the different learning styles that we each have?
Um, that's a great question. Learning styles mean that, do you learn best through reading, through listening, through seeing,
Yeah.
through moving your body?
Hmm.
And the smartest thing to do is to have a little bit of a way to address all of those learning styles throughout your
Right.
course.
Right. Right.
So you'll have wonderful visuals. You'll be talking in very clear, precise language, that you can. I really encourage people to follow their slides and to use notes. I have absolutely no compunction about having notes in front of you, but not to read from them, but
Right.
just to follow.
Hmm.
Um, you might use music, you might use tones, like
Hmm.
I have this to denote different
Yeah.
uh, shifts, when we're working together,
Yeah.
or break time or come back to the group time, that kind of thing. Um, you might have video clips, real big these days, especially if it's an online course. Um, a lot of the people I work with do in-person courses as well. So,
Yeah.
it's the same thing. But
Yeah. And I think that's the beauty of your work too, is you can help them create a full day course. You can help them create an hour talk or a 30-minute talk.
mhm,
So there's that scalable piece that you'd mentioned
yeah,
earlier.
yeah, yeah. So it's just appealing to as many people, many types of learning
Right.
you can
And being cognizant about that.
throughout. Yeah, just being
Yeah.
aware of it.
Yeah. I love it. I love it. And so I think what you're finding too is your clients are working with their content in this sort of a way and really applying adult learning principles to their content. They are getting more clients. They're getting repeat clients coming back. So
Mhm.
why is that?
Well, I believe that when we structure a course this way, and I talk about soulful and structured, because
Right.
my whole big thing is that if you're my client, you bring your innate wisdom and passion and your aspirations, your vision for your clients. What is this
Yeah.
transformation you want for them? This great love. I think teaching is a spiritual act.
Yeah.
It's a very loving, generous act.
Yeah.
And so when we structure this course so carefully, and um, one of the things that my clients come to me with almost exclusively is, I really want to connect with people in this class at the same level, as close as I can get to the same level that we experience one-on-one.
Yeah.
I want them to feel loved. I want
Yeah.
them to feel seen and heard. And so when we build a course like that, people are moved.
Yeah.
People are, there's nothing in the world like being seen and feeling seen and
Yeah.
heard, you
Yeah.
know?
And I think what you're talking about here is this soulful approach to helping people build their courses. It's so often when you think about adult learning principles, it's very linear, right? But
Mhm.
you're really helping people tap into this deeper feeling and connection inside and how they want to connect with their clients. And
Yeah,
that's different. That is
yeah,
so
and
different.
that's one of the big shortcomings in a lot of the courses out there to build courses,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially, build your course in a week, build your
Right.
course in a month,
Yeah.
they're very, very linear.
Yeah.
And yes, they have the nuts and bolts.
Yeah.
That's great.
But it
But
doesn't really deliver on that
no,
memorable, meaningful
no,
connection
where's your
approach.
heart of hearts,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've heard so many of your clients talk about this, and I think that's what's really powerful about your work. Totally love that. So, what else do I want to ask you? We've talked about cramming too much into their courses. Um, how is building a stimulating presentation similar to building an engaging course?
It's the same process, actually.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
it brings in that scalable component big time,
yeah,
because if your presentation, a lot of times I've worked with somebody for quite a while who, she'll get invited to a group, like let's say the Kiwanis, and they'll say, you have a half an hour. And so we'll work on this half-hour presentation, and we'll be as realistic as we can. Maybe what if it gets cut to 20 minutes because of
yeah,
their agenda, So she
yeah,
gets there and it gets cut to 10 minutes, So the beauty of great learning objectives, she knows what her learning objectives are. She knows what the skill is or the action that
yeah,
she wants people to take. And she can review her notes while they're talking through their agenda
yeah,
and say, this is what I'm going to do. This
yeah.
is
Oh,
what I'm
I
going
love
to
it.
say.
I love it. So if somebody's thinking about building a course in 2024, there, this is one of my goals in 2024 is to get this course done. What's the first thing they should be thinking about?
I think who their audience is.
Yeah.
Their topic will naturally, and we do a lot of work on what your topic is and how to narrow it down.
And your business has grown in lovely ways.
Yeah, it really has. Well, I had a few clients, and I went to your annual conference, Ignite, uh, I guess it was last year. Was that last year? No, did we skip? I can't remember. 2 years ago or last year, and
I
came
think it
away
was
with
2 years. I think it was like,
2 years
I
ago.
think,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Came away with 8 clients. So I was like, oh my goodness, look at here, I have a business, and 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 they have referred other people to me, and it's been
You've
really
got a nice referral system
yeah.
going now. You definitely do.
And this year, Ignite was a little different for me. I got a lot of interest, and not the clients signed on the line. So
Uh-huh.
what's happening is really great conversations and even other referrals,
Yeah.
just from those people.
Yeah.
So, and then I have a new client starting in January, and a returning client rather, starting this week again, and another returning client
Yeah.
which this thrilled me beyond the beyond. She came to me, we had one session to look at what she wanted to do next. And she contacted me afterwards, and she said, you know what? She said, I'm going to work on my learning objectives for each module that I think that I need to build. And then I'm going to come back to you and talk about how to flesh everything out. And I was like, that's so great. No, that she can do it on her own, which is what I want.
Yeah.
That's the
Yeah.
skill I want
Yeah.
people to
I
learn.
love it. I
So,
love it.
yeah.
So, the final question I always close with are, what are 3 pearls of wisdom you'd like to leave with us today?
Well, okay. 3 pearls are: narrow your topic. Be really clear, even if you don't know how to write official learning objectives, be clear about what you want them to take away, and then build around that.
Yeah.
And the third and biggest thing is weave your passion and your vision and your wisdom into your course.
Love it. I love it. Well, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your wisdom today,
This has been
Kathleen. I
great.
really enjoyed it. And I know our listeners are going to get a lot. I know there's a lot of people out there right now looking at creating new courses next year. So,
And also people who have courses who want to refresh them.
exactly.
And I do
Exactly.
have
Which I'll
some.
be doing in 2024, by the way.
Yeah.
So, Marketing Mastery is going to get a facelift.
Okay.
So, yeah. Well, cool. Well, thank you so much, Kathleen. It's been
Thank
a
you, Candy.
pleasure.